We will look at our humanity in a little bit. Welcome back to the Sports Spotlight. I'm your host, Chris Vaughn, and Shep back on the air. Let's get to it. More college coming right at you. The LSU, we talked about what's going to happen with Brian Kelly, what's going to happen with this team. So their remaining schedule looks
brutal.
fairly daunting. I mean, number 4, Texas A&M, at Alabama, then Arkansas, who I believe one of us here called how they were going to be a bit more competitive this past weekend. Almost had that. I mean, putting up 40.
They got some trash points at the end of that game.
Yeah,
that game was never in doubt.
That's fair. Western Kentucky hopefully is a guaranteed victory for LSU, and then they finish at Oklahoma. So we'll see. We'll see how that shakes out. So let's take a look at the other games of that early slate. So Georgia Tech beat Duke in spite of giving up 380 some yards to the Duke quarterback, scoring 17 in the fourth quarter, winning 27-18, leaves them at 7-0. Are they threatening anyone? I mean, it's Georgia Tech.
Well, they're threatening to make the playoffs, and they possibly could win the ACC, but they're not going to win the national title. If that's what you're asking by threatening.
Yeah.
And I think they got a good shot at Georgia, which I know we'll discuss later at the end of the season.
Yeah. All right. So let's move to, you hear that? They're talking about Indiana. So third ranked Indiana. Yes, we're talking about college football. Third ranked Indiana just absolutely mauled Michigan State 38-13.
Yep.
Is there, I know we spent a lot of time talking about Indiana last week. Is there anything more that needs to be said? I mean, they did what is expected of a good team.
Well, they locked up Signetti with the contract midweek.
Mm-hmm.
That's far more significant than what happened on Saturday.
Yep. I mean, I know you've been singing high praises of Signetti for a while, rightfully so. And he's got them right there, square in the middle of championship conversations. I mean,
they're going to be undefeated, unless UCLA, the powerhouse that is UCLA Bruins, winners of 3 straight, trip them up. Because I don't see Maryland beating them. I don't see Penn State in their current form beating them. Wisconsin will probably be on an interim head coach by the time they play.
Yeah, they got
Purdue's just not good enough.
Yep. No, you're right. It's, I think, next week. It's the make or break of the season. They should be able to.
They've got those wins over Illinois and Oregon now, so they're going to have to lose twice at least to be out of the playoff conversation. And I think because of what we're seeing in college football this year, 10-2 would still get them in.
Yeah, I think 10-2. If the second loss is to Penn State, in spite of what their state is, it's a big name, right? I think 10-2 still gets them in there. But if it's a 10-2 with a loss to Maryland or Wisconsin or Purdue, I think.
Well, if it's Wisconsin or Purdue, okay, that's different. Like Wisconsin's a bad football team.
Yep.
Luke Fickell, who is apparently a good coach as long as he doesn't coach in the Big Ten, he's got to be toast this year. He seems like a really decent guy, and you hate to see him get fired, but it just has not worked out.
Yep. So Indiana looking like a powerhouse and a lock for the playoffs, and possibly making some serious noise in the playoffs. I mean, they're a really, really good football team. Speaking of Wisconsin and Ohio State, ho hum, beat the snot out of Wisconsin 34-0.
The biggest thing about that game is that they did what they were supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I have to, even though I'm not really that big a Ryan Day fan, talent acquisition is the most important part of being a college football head coach. And there's no one who has done that better in the past few years than Ryan Day. And his team they didn't coast. They were efficient and they professional about their job yesterday, but they could coast to 10 or 11 wins a year without sweating hard in the Big Ten.
Which they did last year.
Right? Yeah, well, and the thing, I know I'm not going to go on my rant again about them not deserving to make playoffs last year, even though I thought they were the best team. But they're better. We'll see what happens when they get to the playoffs. I just don't think they're going to be challenged, with the possible exception of the Michigan game for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and Michigan's kind of not really not really where they've been historically. So let's talk about Georgia and Ole Miss real quick.
Yeah.
So Ole Miss almost had this. Georgia scores 17 in the fourth quarter to win by 8, 43-35. Was that Georgia just kind of coasting in the first half and locking down?
Georgia's got a huge problem on their defense. Ole Miss Kiffin's a great offensive coach, but there's no way he should score in the 5 opening possessions of the game. All right, without a lot of difficulty. There was not a lot of stress in those drives. They scored 5 touchdowns in a row. I mean, look, nobody punted until the fourth quarter, and that was when Georgia came with those couple of 3-and-outs.
Yep.
But Georgia's got to be asking themselves some really serious questions on the defensive side of the game. That's why they lost to Alabama. That's why they almost lost to Tennessee. It's they even let Auburn look competent offensively in the first half of their game until the weird series of officiating calls near the end of the first half.
Yep. And that's why they almost lost.
You have to learn that you have to play in the first half.
Yeah. Well, but that's what I'm asking. Was that more of Georgia turning on the defense in the fourth quarter, or was that just lack of execution for Ole Miss that got them those 3-and-outs?
It's the depth that Georgia has. They eventually wearing. I mean, the Ole Miss team is not as good as they were last year. They're good. They're well coached. I mean, look, Kiffin's an excellent coach. All right, but they don't have the depth, especially along the defensive line or the offensive lines, to really. They may make the playoffs because they're feasting on a bunch of empty calorie teams, right? I don't. We'll see what happens. I think they play Oklahoma next week. Is that right? Which is going to be an interesting game because Ole Miss's defense is awful, right? It really is. But Oklahoma's offense is not great. Now, Oklahoma's defense will be the best defense Ole Miss has played so far.
Yeah, they do play at Oklahoma, and then they've got some easy wins: South Carolina, the Citadel, Florida, and then, as much as it pains me to admit, at Mississippi State.
I don't know how easy the Egg Bowl is going to be for them, but they should win. If they don't win, that's on them.
Yeah,
right.
They're more talented. They'll be going in with more momentum. They'll be going in with the expectation and the confidence that comes along with it. So yes, they will have every advantage if the Bulldogs can pull that off. It would be amazing.
They're going to be 9-2, I think, going in that game.
Yeah. All right.
So, but yeah, Georgia's got to get better defensively. But hey, credit to their offense. They didn't punt.
Absolutely.
The entire game.
Putting up 43 on any SEC team, I think, is a commendable feat. So kudos to you. Much less a 5th-ranked, undefeated at the time team.
It's highly overrated. That's fine.
Yep. All right. Well, speaking of overrated, there were a couple of upsets in the next couple of games. And I think the more painful of these is probably for Memphis, losing to UAB 31-24 for their first loss, and that's going to knock them out of the top 25. But the other
knock them out of the at-large playoff contention. Likely.
Yeah. I mean, they could run the table the rest of the season. That's not going to work. After it's not just the one loss; it's the loss to a UAB team.
And it's no longer the Fighting Trent Dilfers, right?
Yeah, I heard.
He was fired last week.
He was. The other upset, though, Texas Tech, who previously was undefeated, came in as the 7th-ranked team into Arizona State, and if you take, and I understand you got to count every minute of the 60 minutes, but take out the 15 they put up in the fourth quarter, they only had a touchdown at the end of the third, being down 16-7.
Too.
Yeah. Yep. So we can be done with the Texas Tech talk at this point, right? Is the starter going to come back, or
no? I don't think so.
Is he come back?
Yeah, he's going to come back. Yeah.
Okay. It's a short-term injury.
So before we look, the Red Raiders paid a lot for this roster,
Mhm.
right? And they're gonna still win a lot of games in the Big 12, and they will be in that conversation at the end of the season to be the Big 12's representative to the college football playoff.
That November 8th game against BYU, I think, is the focal point
Yeah,
here.
the
That's going to be a
Cougs,
big
man,
one.
7-0.
Absolutely. Lots and lots of, it's surprising. We're about halfway through the college season. And there were, obviously, we saw 2 or 3 previously undefeated ranked teams lose, but there's still a handful of undefeateds rolling around. So it's going to be interesting the next couple of weeks. And if that,
Is there any coach, now that Franklin's not a head coach, that you trust less than Mario Cristobal to win big games at Miami?
less.
Is there any coach that you trust less to win the big games than Cristobal?
No, no. I think we might be on maybe not polar opposite corners, but we might be on the on opposite sides of the argument on Lane Kiffin. I felt that he's won less than he should across the years. But still, no. I mean, just a big game. The moment getting too big for you, yeah. I think that was just shocking. That was surprising. I did not. I don't know how that happens. The Miami loss. Did not see that
4
coming.
interceptions by Carson Beck.
That's how it happens.
That'll do it, right? You know how we were talking about how Vanderbilt didn't have a fluky win?
Yeah.
Louisville is well coached, and look, Miami had their own, turnover. They turned Louisville over and got a short field, got a touchdown.
Yep.
Right? But Louisville was the better team, and Carson Beck has to learn when to take easy money and go to the checkdowns. He also has to be a better leader and not blame somebody else for running the wrong route if he throws an interception to lose the game, especially if it's the fourth one of the game.
Yeah. So Carson Beck, it's like the Denny Warfel effect, right? To date myself, going back 25 years. When you have that much talent and you're playing cupcake after cupcake, you just get used to taking the deep shots. It's almost like me playing Madden back in back in the 90s and early 2000s, right? Just when you're not used to it, you're not getting trained. Your skill to read defenses and check down, get down to your third, fourth reads is just not getting honed, and you end up in that situation where you make a couple of mistakes and then things start snowballing. I felt like that's what happened to Carson Beck, um, and it was. I mean, it was shocking to me. I know the Cardinals were coming in with 1 loss, but I felt
They also
that
have
there
an
was.
excellent coach. Brom's a really good coach.
Yeah, but still, what was your level of confidence that Miami was going to win that game before the game started?
It was probably
90?
around 70%.
Okay, yeah. You see,
So I think Cristobal is a great talent
accumulator. Yeah.
Okay. I don't know how good a coach he is. Okay, so like in the NFL, he would never make it. He's just not good enough on the X's and O's side. But in the college side, especially in the ACC, he's going to win at like a floor of nine games every year because he's just more talented than every team he plays. At least right now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. Until he wins, look, they beat Notre Dame at the beginning of the year. But that was a Notre Dame team that I think is very different than the one that's playing right now.
It was finding itself.
And that was Carr's first start, and he played pretty well. Like, their defensive line really tore into the offensive line of Notre Dame, which is now playing much better than they did. I think that we're going to see Miami make the playoffs and be one and done.
Yeah, I think so. Hey, speaking of that, I want to talk about another team that I think might stumble in, although that's looking dicey now, into the playoffs. and be one and done. But before that, let's get everybody an update over from London. And sure enough, here comes the garbage time scoring.
Yep. He's got 18.4 points now.
Yeah, I mean, just a quick big drive. Once they fell back, I think it was 28-0, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's over,
yeah.
right?
28-0, game's over. So I'm sure the defense is pulling back. And here we go, Trevor Lawrence with 3 big-time completions and eventually scoring on a 34-yard touchdown deep pass to Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is quietly,
standing out athlete.
He absolutely is. It's it's one of those things. We've talked about how he could be the Shohei Ohtani
commercial with your man Luca on it.
Stop. My wife hates basketball. Like she loves football, so it's not like she hates sports, right? She loves football. We'll sit down and watch football together. But she hates basketball. She actually calls it stupid basketball. She's like, anytime I start a conversation that involves a basketball player or a basketball team, she's like, are you talking about stupid basketball again? Right. But in spite of that, I felt that I needed an outlet. I needed to vent. I spent, I don't know, 5 minutes, and kudos to what a wonderful wife she is. She patiently listened because she knew what it meant to me. Um, just me venting about how Luca is in the best shape of his life.
Yep.
And what's frustrating for me is I don't know. Actually, I do know. I'm virtually certain that would not have happened without the trade, right? So whether he's angry, whether he's irritated, whether he's scared, whatever it is, something lit a fire for him to get in shape, and it's probably going to result in him dominating the league even more so than he has done the last 7 or 8 years, right?
Yep.
And so, it's so
enjoy seeing that. I know I distracted you from football talk. I bring that. I've got the Manchester United Liverpool game on silent.
Well, so I gotta finish that story though. So I've often said, and I'll say it loudly and proudly, I've got a wonderful wife, the best wife I could possibly imagine. She puts up with a lot of my crap, and in this instance, she put up with it for a good 5-6 minutes as I'm walking through that and venting. But she did not miss the opportunity to slide in at the end. She goes, well, hopefully that will drive him to get in really, really great shape so that he can go and play a real sport instead of basketball. I was like, okay, nicely done. Yeah, man, it's gonna be pain. It's gonna be pain. The only thing that will ameliorate it a tad is if the Mavs, they've looked great in the preseason, right? Cooper Flagg looks like the real deal. Anthony Davis is a monster. Klay Thompson appears to have turned back, maybe not turned back the clock to 2015, but at least turned back the clock to 2020, 2021, not the way he'd been playing the last couple of years. Again, it's all preseason, but looks like the team is gelling. And get Kyrie Irving in there by February, March, April, and this is going to be a formidable team and a deep team with Gafford. Lively's a monster as a starting, but Gafford coming in to back him up. PJ Washington, Hardy. I mean, this is a deep roster, a talented roster, but it's not going to mean a lick if they don't win the championship, and it's going to be pain for 4 or 5 months if it's not them who are lifting the trophy, but the Lakers, Luka and the Lakers.
I know. I am so sorry for all of you, Mavs.
Yeah, it's. It's a championship or absolute bust, as a Mets fan. That's where we are. And that's not a great place to be in. All right, 28-7 Rams leading the Jaguars. Third and 6 for the Rams coming up. So maybe the Jaguars get the ball back. Maybe they get another garbage time touchdown. Travis Hunter now up to 6 receptions, 85 yards, and that 34-yard touchdown. So Travis Hunter starting to come into his own on the offensive side. All right, back to Miami. So here we are. Miami lost, and yes, to a certain degree, as you said, fluky, 4 interceptions.
It would have been 5, but there was a horrible roughing the passer penalty that took one back.
Mm-hmm.
Beck had a horrible game.
Yeah.
NFL GMs, beware.
Exactly.
Don't fall for the tools.
Look, I said it, and I stand by it, and I think I'm going to stand by it when the draft time comes. He is a Danny Werfel.
No, he's better physical tools than Danny Werfel. Danny Werfel made good decisions. You're thinking maybe of, what's his name?
Oh, Shane Matthews.
Oh, Shane Matthews.
Who was the guy who was a Florida quarterback who ended up quarterbacking the Bears in a
Grossman.
Rex Grossman. That's who I was thinking
Grossman,
of.
Man.
Yes.
He was they had the memes. I won't say it on the family show, but something fucking deep.
Yeah. Yep. That's who I was thinking of. Where he gets drafted, and that Bears defense and special teams carried him to that Super Bowl and
carried him like Sam carried Frodo up Mount Doom,
and really gift wrapped that Super Bowl to the Colts, right?
Yep.
For Manning, but yeah, hey, do we have time for this? Speaking of Manning, let's tease it and then we'll come back. So there's a new Manning, not Peyton.
You're talking about Arch. I'm going to be kinder to the young man than a lot of other people are, I think. I'll tease that portion out of it. I don't think this is all his fault.
You've been a defender of Arch for a while, and sometimes
not necessarily defender per se, but is more of a I don't know yet because that offensive line and wide receivers are not good.
Yep. And that's why I didn't say an apologist. I just said a defender that, hey, we don't know, right? Hey, but we do know what happened yesterday. So we're going to take a short break. We're going to come back. We're going to wrap up the conversation with Arch Manning and those Longhorns, and then we'll switch the spotlight over to the professional circuit. Lots and lots to discuss on the pro side as well. You're listening to the Sports Spotlight right here on Radio Azad.
You are listening to Radio Azad, where your voice matters. Entertain, inform, inspire.
Download the free Radio Azad app on the App Store or Google Play to listen worldwide.
Reached a plateau in your weight loss journey? Ever feel like you've tried every so-called healthy diet only to find yourself gaining more weight? Do you know you can actually tap into your body so that it loses the weight for you without excessive exercising or fad diets? Hi, I'm Dr. Nilofer Basaria, and I can help you in your health and weight loss journey to lose excess physical and stress weight and keep it off without medications and calorie counting. Call or text at 469-645